Welcome. We are the Informavores, your constant consumers of information. I'm Alex Schumann.
And I'm Marcus Rippentrop.
And I'm Ryan Jones.
Now, we're going to start the show off with the Know Your Nation question for today. Now, the question for today is, what two American presidents outrank our first president, George Washington, in the U.S. military? Now, you can send us your answers and disagreements for what we say later on in the show and suggestions for topics to informavoresradio@gmail.com. You can become a fan on Facebook, respond to us on our wall, or you can follow us on Twitter. We'll be checking those live throughout the show, and we'll respond immediately, either today or on our next episode. Now, again, the Know Your Nation question is, what two American presidents outrank George Washington in the U.S. military? Later in our show, we will have our 3 trivia questions by which you can test yourself and see if you are a constant consumer of information and worthy of being called an Informavore. For now, however, let's talk Palin.
Over the weekend, the Tea Party movement held a convention. It was in Nashville, Tennessee, and it cost a whopping $350 per ticket. Sarah Palin was the guest speaker, and she was paid $100,000 to speak, but said all of the money will return to the cause. And that's all she said, was just the cause. She had one of the more moderate speeches in comparison to the other night, and she had a couple of her trademark folksy jokes, and there was even a crowd chant going, "Run, Sarah, run," in terms of the presidency. And here's a little snippet of what she said.
Remember, our administration promised that it would be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. Remember Vice President Biden? He was put in charge of a tough, unprecedented oversight effort. That's how it was introduced. You know why? Because nobody messes with Joe. Now, this was all part of that hope and change and transparency, and now a year later, I gotta ask those supporters of all that, how's that hopey, changey stuff working out for you?
All right, so that was Sarah. Now, this also coincided with a poll by the Des Moines Register. Ryan, you have more information on that, don't you?
Yes, I do. The Des Moines Register took a poll about the Tea Party in Iowa. 33% of Iowans said that they agreed with the Tea Party movement, while 45% said they disagreed with it. This was the first real poll done to study the Tea Party in Iowa. This poll shows support from all sides of the political spectrum. The breakdown was 17% of Democrats, 34% of Republicans, and 49% of independents saying that they supported the Tea Party movement. Now, what do you guys think about these numbers? Is the Tea Party becoming a legitimate third party?
They're on their way. I think so, at least. I don't know about if they're ever going to have a candidate, and I don't know how much success they're going to have. I mean, right now, the general populace's opinion of them is a bunch of really radical people. A lot of people don't really agree with, a lot of what they're saying because they tend to be ultra conservative in terms of government, like very small government, very, very few spending items, and a lot of civil liberties.
But a third of Iowans are saying that they actually do support the movement.
Yeah, a third is not that much, I don't think.
Well, see, my problem is I disagree with Marcus a little bit, because when you get into it and you really look at the Tea Party, it really just seems more like they're simply angry single-issue voters, because they seem to just be upset about government spending, and that's their big thing. But other than that, there's not that big of a difference between them and the general Republican Party, because they're still socially conservative. They're not consistent in that they want small government fiscally and then also want it small socially. And I don't really understand. I don't really understand what their general platforms are. I've tried to research it a little bit, and it just comes out like the general Republican Party, except these guys have signs.
Yeah. I guess that's true. I would say they're somewhere between a Republican and a Libertarian. I think they would fit in that spectrum pretty well. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because that's basically who makes up the Tea Party.
Yeah. And if you look at it, I agree with Alex's analysis that it's a lot of just single issue voters that are angry. If you said 49% of them are independents.
Yeah.
I think that's just, I think they're angry about just the government, and it's just I think they're upset because of the government and because they don't have a job and they see the government wasting all this money in their opinion. And I just think that I don't see it making into a formal party. I think it's just a group of like-minded people who like to rally together. They're just not going to have a candidate.
Yeah. Alex, you agree? Do you think this is not enough to become a formal party?
I don't think so. I think it's going to end when the Obama administration ends, and whenever that may be. But I don't think, for instance, we have a clip. Could we play the next clip of when Sarah Palin describes what she considers the power of the Tea Party?
The Republican Party would be really smart to start trying to absorb as much of the Tea Party movement as possible. Because this is the future of our country. The Tea Party movement is the future of politics. And as I said before, this is a beautiful movement because it is shaping the way politics are conducted. You've got really both party machines running scared because they're not knowing, what are we going to do if we don't have Tea Party support? They know that they won't succeed.
See, I think she's overestimating the power. I think it's legitimate that I think it's really surprising that in Iowa there's 33% that are that behind it, because this is a state with a special super political power. But I don't think both parties are really that worried. I think the Republican Party likes them because it's further motivation.
So it is not a beautiful movement like Sarah Palin liked to say?
Actually, I think it is. I think it's good to see that people are willing to go support what they believe in. You may disagree with what they say, and sometimes they're crazy. a lot of them are really out there, but I think that's just the beauty of the country and the system we live in, is that you can go do that. And I think that I think she has a good point. The parties are kind of scared of them because they look back at how Obama won. It was based on those independent voters. And if it's made up of 49% independent voters, you're going to have to pander to them, and you're going to have to get them on your side if you want to win.
All right. Moving into actual content, should the Republican Party absorb the Tea Party?
It would definitely be a good move, but once again, I don't really see the divide between the Tea Party and the Republican Party, because what are they going to do and who are they going to vote for that's going to not be a Republican? I guess Sarah Palin could theoretically.
We will talk about that later.
Okay.
Yes.
But you can't absorb a non-existent party. They're not officially a party yet. So I agree. There's really not much of a distinction between them, and you can't absorb just a like-minded group of people. You're just going to have to tell them why as a candidate, you have to tell them why you're the one they should vote for. They're a subset of people. They're a demographic. They're not a party, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you think the Democrats and Republicans can run without Tea Party support since they are not a formal party?
Well, no, they need the support of the people that are in it, but I just don't think they're a party.
Okay.
Like I said, you look back at the previous election, it was won on independence. And if they want to win, they're going to have to get these people on their side. I just don't think of them as an official political party.
Yeah, like Marcus, he brought up earlier that they had to pay $350 to go to this convention. What was the convention? I think it sounded more like a motivational political thing to keep that big, get that motivation going again that they had when the healthcare debate was at its hottest moment in August, during the August recess, when all those town hall meetings were going crazy and stuff like that. I think this was more of a motivational thing and an excuse to get some of those people out in front of the media, because who has a convention where you don't have any delegates, first of all, and you're paying? It just sounded like a political dinner. Yeah, it sounded like a political fundraiser.
All right, going into that, we have another Sarah Palin clip.